Hi, this is Des Futak here again on day number 14 of my 90-day internet marketing challenge. If you don't know why I'm doing this, then what I suggest you do is just click on the video above my finger here if you're on YouTube, or go back to my YouTube channel, which should appear down below here, and find out what I'm up to. Today I just want to take a bit of time out from the normal way of what I'm doing, and it's a Sunday and I just thought I'd have a time of rest with my family. But I thought I'd just kind of share with you some of the things that have been buzzing around my head recently. Some things perhaps that are a bit more personal to do in my own life rather than to do my business. So I'll just give you a bit of background. My wife and I always try to watch a video or see a film together, just as a time together on our own once a week. And we pulled off the shelf recently one of the video series of Jane Austen. Hopefully you've heard of Jane Austen. She's a very famous authoress who wrote romantic novels and things, but set in the sort of 19th century, sorry. And she became very, very famous. And last week we actually watched Pride and Prejudice. It's a BBC version of the book Pride and Prejudice, and it was a whole series of TV series that were produced a long while ago now. And it was very, very moving the way you saw different characters in the film coming together and being united together. So that's a bit of background. And then the night before last, my wife and I watched something actually on BBC iPlayer. We don't have a TV, but here in the UK we can actually watch pre-recorded programmes and films live on the internet. And we watched a film, guess what, about Jane Austen, called The Making of Jane, or The Making of Jane Austen, and it was a fictional film all about her life. And it was quite sad in some ways because she never married, and the person who she was in love with, she never got to marry. And my wife and I were just thinking about this, and I think what really struck me about Jane's life was, although her life was perhaps very marked by this pain of not being able to marry the person she loved, as a result of that pain, she used that pain to write down some very beautiful and moving stories of relationships, of the society that she lived in, of perfidy, of all sorts of things that were going on at the time. And in a way, I think she gave out a huge amount from her own pain and her own lack of fulfillment in marriage, really, that perhaps she wouldn't have done had she actually married this person and had children and led a sort of a more normal life. And she remained single for the rest of her life, as did her sister. And really what really struck me was the fact that when we suffer bad experiences in this life, we can choose to respond in one of two ways. We can either turn in on ourselves or other people, or we can choose to turn that pain into something beautiful. And I think that's what Jane Austen did with her life. And I know the difficult experiences I've had in my own personal life, I've tried to use them in that way to actually give out something out of that pain and out of that learning experience to help other people. And I think if you can do that in life, if you can turn those negative experiences into positive ones and transform what they did and use it to help other people, then in a way it speaks at a much, much deeper level. I think a lot of what Jane Austen was writing about was to do with wanting that fulfillment in relationships, and all of her stories, all of her novels, all of the films and plays that have been written about her show that very, very strongly, that she was a person who really wanted to have relationships at the heart of life, and not just relationships, but actually relationships where there's a real connection between people and a real sharing and a real giving to one another. And although she never experienced that in its fullest extent in her own life in the way that she wanted, that didn't stop her from actually pouring out herself in a way to help other people. So if you're involved in any kind of personal business, or you're involved in any personal struggles at the moment, and sometimes you think this is very, very difficult, this is painful, then what I want you to try and do is think about how you can turn that around and how you can use that in a way to give away something out of that pain to help other people. Because when you do that, it really speaks to them at a very, very deep level, and it can have an incredible effect on other people's lives. So that's just really what I've been learning personally over recent times with my wife and I, and I highly recommend that you read her novels, particularly Pride and Prejudice, as it's probably one of the pinnacle of what she's famous for, but also the others, a very similar theme running through them. and they're great novels, and they really can help you personally if you're struggling with things. Whilst the novels will turn out with happy endings, just remember that her own life didn't necessarily have the ending that she wanted, in the sense that she never had a marriage or a family, but she did give of herself to other people, and as a result of that, you know, she has blessed thousands and thousands of people with what she did and what she wrote. So just bear that in mind in your own life, and just reply to me on Twitter or Facebook and chat about it if you want. Okay, that's me signing off today on day number 14 of my 90-day marketing challenge. I shall get back on track tomorrow with more businessy type videos, and do get in contact with me. I'd love to hear your story too. Thanks, bye for now.